Okay, what's good, everybody? Um, my name is Daniel, and I'm going to go over step one and really do my best to help you out in doing really well in this exam. Okay, all right. So first question you have to ask yourself is like, what type of student am I? Are you, one of those students that are top of the class, or are you one of those students that are kind of like, I'm doing good. I study a lot and my scores really reflect how much I study? Or are you a student that, that requires a lot more hard work to produce the same results as someone who is really, top of their class? So, but the bottom line is that you guys are all in med school, and even if you think you're not a smart person, like you need to really get that out of your head because you're already in med school, right? So like, I know I also had these thoughts like, oh, like, I'm only here because I really worked hard to get here. But like, at the end of the day, um, even if that's how I got in, like, hey man, I'm here. I'm still, you know, studying with the best of them. So that doesn't really matter. Um, but yeah, you know yourself the best. So I'm pretty sure this is kind of self-explanatory. All right, here we go. So if you're a brilliant student, I don't really got any advice for you, just because you have already figured out what works best for you, and I'm assuming like you're hitting like, like 85 plus percent on your in-house exams. Like you're like always getting, near perfect scores on your quizzes. There's a lot of weekends that you don't study a lot, but you still do well. And I think you kind of already feel like, okay, yeah, I'm a pretty good student, bro. Like, and so I guess just one thing um, that applies to like everyone is just like, obviously, if you're an Anki user, if you use your Anki throughout MS1, just continue using it because like that's literally your bread and butter, right? And that works for you. Um, I feel like if you use Anki throughout MS1 and you passed MS1, okay, then like the Anki is really working for you. But obviously, there's a lot of people that don't use Anki as well, and that's fine. I didn't use Anki during MS1, but here I am. So one thing though is that like no matter who you are, you just have to start doing Euro questions like in the summer, like at least like 40 a day, which is like 3 hours max. Like it's not that long. It's not that like I'm saying 3 hours. I'm being very generous. Like because 40 questions. If you do 1.5 minutes per question, that's like what, like an hour. So an hour to do the questions and 2 hours to review it. I feel like that's pretty fair time. If you're an average student, yeah, you gotta start doing the pattern of doing content and then doing questions and then doing Anki incorrects and then just repeating that cycle because um yeah, like I said, the average student is just like the very hard working student, right? And so this is just how you thrive. And it's I will say doing the Anki incorrects for UWorld is gonna be pretty tough because it takes a lot of time. Um and like, I don't know how that's gonna affect your Anki that you've been doing. I'm assuming you're gonna do both, but it's just gonna be so many cards, and you're gonna really wanna um give up on them. But I feel like you definitely can't give up on the Anki that you've been doing throughout MS1, 100%. Like you definitely don't want to stop doing that. Um, but maybe you could maybe skip the Anki incorrects, possibly. Um, and then the below average student. Okay, so pretty much the same thing, but you are probably lacking like content. And so I think you have to find something that works for you. So I know there's like resources like, what is that, like medprep.com or something like that. But or like you're gonna have to find a new way of getting content to stick in your head. And I feel like that's like gonna be your main um hurdle that you have to overcome. Okay, so my strategy for step one was to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I know, okay, that kind of means like, okay, let me do like, 10 pages. Let me go over 10 pages of cardio, and then let me do some questions on cardio, and then um let me go over 10 pages of like endo, and then do questions, like kind of like that. I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to do like 50 pages of cardio and then just like knock out all the cardio questions that you have in UWorld. Mainly because I feel like you do that. Okay, let's say you take a week or two just for cardio and you finish the UWorld questions for it, and you finish the content like that you use, like step one, or I mean, sorry, first aid, or Melman, or whatever that you're using. Let's say you finish all of that and then you start GI. But by the time you finish GI, and by the time you finish endocrine and repro and all that, you're gonna forget the things that you learned in cardio, um, unless you've been religiously doing your cardio incorrects. But I feel like the better option is just to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, so that you'll you'll like your brain will be like, okay, oh, I'm doing cardio questions like here and there. I'm doing endo questions here and there, and so like it's still like fresh in your brain, if that makes sense. And I just found that that works the best. Um, and like I said, the Euro Anki incorrects are helpful, but they're very tedious. I feel like, the for the non Anki users, if this is not working for you, if you feel like this is just a waste of time for you, then like don't do it. Obviously, just don't do it. You can still pass without doing this. It's just like I mean, it's obviously better if you do it, because you're just increasing your chances of passing, because like whatever you're getting wrong, you need to get that right. And the Anki incorrects are only just gonna help with that. But I do recommend, after you finish your first round of Euro questions, like doing the incorrect questions are definitely recommended, because if you are still getting them wrong, yeah, that's something that you just have to go over, because like obviously you don't want to get them wrong on the real one. And yeah, um, I'm just gonna talk about some resources. So first aid and Melman. I know everyone knows first aid, but not everyone might know Melman. But Melman is just like this guy who pretty much creates like PDFs on like step one and step two content. But he does a really great job of narrowing down what the test takers the test makers are making. And but the only problem with both of these resources is that if you're trying to relearn something, you're not gonna relearn it through these books, or like through these books and PDFs. Like, mainly because these are great for high yield facts, like, and so it's just like, it's good to go over them for sure, to kind of see what USMLE wants you to know. But I don't know, it's tough if you only use this if you're like an average student or a below average student. Like, I feel like you're not gonna have a good time using these. Um, I mean, I still recommend you use either one, but you can't just use them, if that makes sense. Pathoma. Okay, so Pathoma, yeah, everyone raves about chapters 1 through 3, and I think everyone in med school already knows this. Like, it is important. It is important. Um, The other chapters are, in my opinion, like a little bit less. But with me, I never really enjoyed Pathoma, and that's kind of why I'm like more hesitant on it. I can see why it is important, and I think if you at least know chapters 1 to 3, it will be beneficial to you. But if you can find, like, if Pathoma is not working for you, if you feel like, man, the content that the guy is saying is just like so tedious and like you're confused by it, I think it is definitely a good idea if you can find another source um that kind of covers Pathoma's one chapters 1 through 3. But yeah, definitely at least do chapters 1 through 3. Important. Okay, sketchy, micro, and farm. Okay, this is something that I think everyone should do. Like, this one is very important, guys. The micro sketchy is gonna be so much easier than the farm one, but you have to do both of these, guys. Like, this will save you on so many questions, because for micro and farm questions on the USMLE, it's gonna be like, it really is gonna be, you either know it or you don't. You can't figure it out by reading the question over and over again. Like, it's literally like, do you know this microorganism, or do you know this drug? And that's why I'm saying that the sketchy micro and farm and doing the Anki for them is crucial for your success. I feel like just by doing these, like, oh my god, you'll save so many points. Like if you get anything out of this presentation or this video, literally just do this. Like, literally, you just be consistent in doing the sketchy micro and farm Anki questions, or like the Anki for it. Like, bro, this is so important. Okay, this is so important. The farm one is pissing tough. Like, it's a piss load of cards. So I think if you can start in the summer, it's definitely gonna be beneficial. But trust me, once you like get through it, oh my god, you're gonna feel so good about yourself. Okay, you're gonna feel good, and when you see the micro or farm questions on the practice exams or on the real one, oh my gosh, you're gonna be like, god damn, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I did these Anki questions, because I just got myself a free point and I used only 1 minute of my test time to do it. Maybe even less. Okay? This is important. Do these Anki cards. Um and watch the videos if you can. I know it's pricey, but like, bro, you're in med school, bro. Like, you're already taking out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in loans. Like, what's another thousand gonna do, right? Don't listen to that one. Okay. UWorld, okay, obviously UWorld, you know you have to use it. But I'm gonna make this known that just because you finish it, it doesn't mean you're gonna pass step one. I'm sorry, guys. It's not going to solve all your problems. That's just how it is. It's like, yeah, you can do it. Anyone can do these questions, but doing them in a way that you're actually learning from them is what's important. And I feel like that does not apply to every student. I know some students really, they only do UWorld and pass. That's great for them. I'm not one of those students. And that's why I had to do like all these other things. But yo, UWorld is great. I will say, like, you definitely have to do them. But I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think doing either um either either doing the incorrect Ankis for UWorld, or just doing the UWorld incorrects is required, like, because you need to know what you don't know. Okay? You need to know what you don't know so that you can learn that again. Okay? But I will say, if you're if you're doing really good on Euro questions, like you do a set of 40 and you get like plus 70, like more than 70% correct. Wow, okay, yeah, you're doing really good. Like something's working, okay? Because I mean, some of these questions are tough. So, good job. Um, okay. I don't know why I wrote if you have time. Okay, I think I wrote that because obviously 26 to 33 plus questions are exams. There's a lot of practice exams that you can do. Some of them you can kind of like go and find them for free, but like definitely the more recent ones like 32 and 33 and maybe even 31 is kind of hard to find for free, but 26 to 30 for sure you can find it for free. Um and I guess I wrote if you have time because like you might not want to take all of them, but I definitely recommend that you do take all of them because it's just good practice. Like I feel like this is even better practice than doing your old questions, like because I mean these are the people that write the exam, right? So the most important part, okay, of doing NBME, practice NBME exams is not you doing them and getting a score, okay? The most important thing that you have to remember is that you have to make Anki cards of your incorrects and guessed questions and guessed corrects, and you have to do them every single day until you know that concept, okay? Like that's the most important thing, I think. Okay, besides what I said about micro and farm sketchy Anki cards, this might be the most important thing that you have to do because when I took the real one, bro, I swear, like I saw at least like 5 questions that were literally word for word the same from the previous from the practices NBMEs. Like, bro, you have to do the incorrects and, and okay, and then I'm gonna make a separate video on on how to make your Anki cards using Chat GPT. I feel like it's just like, bro, yeah, okay, but you have to make Anki cards of incorrects and guess, and then you have to do them every day because wow, yeah, this is important. And let's say you take 26, right, and you get like like a pretty poor score, you get like a 40%, something like that. If you make the Anki cards of your incorrects and guess, and you like do them for like a week, and then you take 27, holy crap, you're 27, bro. It's gonna go up, bro. Like trust me, you're gonna go from like 40 to like a 50 or maybe even more because I mean definitely some of the questions that you get from the previous forms, like they are repeats in the newer forms. Like 26, I think some questions from 26 you can see them on like 28 or something like that. But like yeah, so definitely important, and it's very important that you review the exams, okay? And I feel like making the Anki cards is your way of reviewing the exams. Like I don't want you to just like, oh, like what did I miss, okay, and then like read the explanation. Hell no, bro, that's nothing. That's really nothing. You gotta do something like Anki to kind of hone in on what you got wrong, okay? Okay, and then for the test taking strategy, I think this kind of applies for everyone. um you have to read the last objective finding, and this is the biggest clue that you have in answering the question correct. An example of the last objective finding could be like an image that they give you. So like a histo slide image. And if it shows like R rods, you already know, okay, it's talking about AML or something like that, right? And that's kind of what I mean. Like 90% of the time, the answer is relevant to the last objective finding. And that is so freaking true. Like if they show you a picture of anything, the answer is 100,000% related to that picture, right? So definitely, if you have no idea what the hell the question is talking about, read the last objective finding, see what you can infer from that. And then after you read the last objective finding, I want you to read from down up. So read the last objective finding, and then there's going to be a lot more other objective findings. Like they're going to tell you like the physical findings of, their blood pressure or their temperature or whatever. And then obviously the answer that you pick has to be related to not only the last objective finding, but all the other objective findings that you are given. Okay. And reading from the top down again, like after you read it the first time, is like not beneficial because most of the time, the top, um, the top portion of the question is all like fluff, like it's literally BS. Like you don't have to know jack, you don't have to know anything about them. Okay. And yeah, you should probably do this first, but you have to read what they are actually asking you first. So um the last sentence usually is like, oh, like what other symptoms can you find on Mr. James? You know, so it's like you have to know like what they're actually asking you, right? Okay. Okay, and at the real exam, I would suggest that you do as many sections as you can. Like there's like I think there's 7 sections, right? So if you can do if you can knock out like 3 or 4 sections in a row or even more, that's really good. And I say that because on your in-house exams, I'm pretty sure you don't get little breaks that you can take, you know? Yeah, obviously you can go to the restroom, but like you tend to just like stay for the whole 100 plus questions and try to finish them, right? And I feel like why would you change that up just because you get break time? I feel like it's better for you to start section 1 and lock the heck in as long as you can because like you're going to be in like this flow state, bro. You're going to be in this flow state and you're going to finish section 1. You're going to be like, okay, not bad. And then you're going to do section 2 right away. You're going to be like, hell yeah, okay, I'm in the zone. And then you're going to finish section 3, okay? And then you might need to go to the restroom. Okay, if you need to go to the restroom, you need to get the hell out of there after you finish section 3. Take the break because you do not want to be doing questions with a full bladder, okay? You're going to be thinking only about the bladder, okay? Another tip is to not eat so much for lunch, okay? Hey, bro, I'm a big bag, okay? I love eating, but I also know that eating gets me tired as heck. And, bro, this exam, I'm already tired as hell, okay? And so, eating is not gonna help. It's gonna add to the tiredness, and I do not need to be more tired when I'm reading these pissing questions, okay? So don't eat too much. Eat some fruits. Eat like an energy bar. Also, don't drink caffeine if you're not used to drinking caffeine. Like, no, hell no. Okay? If you regularly don't drink caffeine, don't start now, okay? I will say though, okay, you can take like a sip, like a little sip, you know, to kind of like get your body in check, but like only drink caffeine if you're used to it. If not, just take a little sip. Like a little sip when you get tired, not when you start the exam. Okay? And I think this might be the last slide and balance, man. You know, this is important, bro. Balance. Okay? I need you guys to all exercise, okay? Do some type of cardio. Please. Okay? Do some type of cardio. Get your 10,000 steps in, boys and girls, okay? And I need you guys to find a freaking hobby, okay? Whether that be basketball, whether that be football, whether that be fencing, taekwondo, I don't give a crap, okay? Find a hobby and stick to that hobby, okay? Because your life, you need a balance, okay? Diet, okay? Very important. I would suggest eating salmon or some type of omega-3 food before like the week that you're gonna take a practice exam or the real exam. You need to eat something like this because I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm like just tripping, but anytime I had salmon before, like during the week of my exam, bro, my brain was working 300%, bro. Okay, salmon, bro. That's like it's a cheat code. Okay, and it's really good for you. High in protein, very low calories. Okay. Okay, the stretching is mainly for me, but I found that sitting on your chair for like 10 plus hours every day, it's not good for your body. So having like a 10 to 15-minute stretching session is gonna be really good. It's gonna be really good on your neck, your shoulders, etc. Okay. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Obviously ask me questions. I'm definitely just here to help. Like I know how stressful this exam can be. So I really am here. If you guys wanna send me like or like write a comment down, I'll like definitely read that and then reach back out. And so really just hoping everyone um finds this useful. And obviously you don't have to agree with me, but um yeah, I just made this for beneficial reason. All right, I'm gonna stop talking because I'm rambling, but appreciate everyone for watching. Peace.